I can't think of ways that would make it easier for Donald Trump to get reelected than listening to this conversation. It's ridiculous. We're not going to throw out capitalism. We tried that. Other countries tried that. It was called communism, and it just didn't work.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I bring you a recap of the most recent Democratic debate, this time held in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, in my humble opinion, this was the best debate we've seen thus far in this current cycle that we're in right now. From 2019 to 2020, this has been the best debate. The previous one, some of you can just pretty much get a pillow, find a nice little cozy corner and take a nap and not really miss much. But this one was action-packed, a lot of attacking, a lot of back and forth. It was a very good debate. Now, let's hop straight into it because there's plenty to unpack here, as the cool kids would say. Let's talk about the candidates that were on stage. You had Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Joe Biden, Amy Klobuchar, Bernie Sanders, and for the very first time, Mike Bloomberg. A very diverse group, if I may say that, but we'll move on. Anyway, the debate started off with a bang. Elizabeth Warren was in beast mode. In the previous debate, she even said, I was not really on my A game. I was not really engaging. And she was right. She did not do very well in the previous debate. But in this one, she came out guns blazing directly at Mike Bloomberg.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg. Democrats are not going to win if we have a nominee who has a history of hiding his tax returns, of harassing women, and of supporting racist policies like redlining and stop and frisk. Look, I'll support whoever the Democratic nominee is, but understand this. Democrats take a huge risk if we just substitute one arrogant billionaire for another. This country has worked for the rich for a long time and left everyone else in the dirt.
And you saw that right there. I was like, wow, good grief. I mean, I had to kind of clutch my pearls on that one because she went straight for the jugular on Mike Bloomberg, and that kind of set the tone for the whole night. There was a lot of attacking going back and forth. Bloomberg obviously was the subject of many of the attacks. Even a guy like Joe Biden, who did not do very well in the debate, as he has been doing not very well in all the previous debates, he even attacked Bloomberg with some effectiveness. One thing I got to say is that Bloomberg was not really ready for this debate at all. I think Van Jones said it, or somebody said it. It was like, look, whoever prepared this man for the debate needs to be fired. His entire team, whoever is there with him as an advisor, should be fired because he was not ready. Warren pressed him about women that he has on NDAs. I didn't even know about that. Stop and frisk, obviously, calling women all types of derogatory terms, this, that, and the third. She pressed him on all of that, and he really didn't have a good answer. The way Bloomberg came off was like a manager, basically, like at any job. If you have a boss or a manager, that's kind of how he came off. But if you're trying to become the president, you got to be more personable than that. You can't just be this by the book kind of robotic person. You got to have some personality, and Bloomberg didn't have it. He's a short guy on top of that. I'm not a person that's against short people, but if you're trying to be the president, you're already a short guy and you're kind of like not really able to defend yourself very well in that particular space. It does not really bode well for you. So he did abysmally in this debate, but him being there made for a great debate because everybody was able to attack him, and that attacking nature kind of just stuck around for other people. Edge attack Klobuchar.
I wish everyone was as perfect as you, Pete.
Klobuchar got hit on not knowing who the president of Mexico was. She could not name the name Lopez Obrador. I didn't know what the guy's name was. I had to look it up, but I think if I'm going to be a person running for president, I should know certain things. And it was hilarious because she likened not knowing the name to just failing at Jeopardy. That was funny to me. The crowd didn't really think so. I feel like I was laughing at certain points when the crowd didn't laugh. Like when Mike Bloomberg was talking about communism at the very beginning of this video, the crowd was like, oh, no, you know, to me, that was hilarious. It was a lot of funny moments that the crowd didn't really find funny because they're Democrats, of course. You got people's wives and husbands and whatnot in the crowd. And the Democrats on stage, they can't really laugh at certain things. Another funny moment was when Bloomberg attacked Bernie for being a stomp down, stone cold hypocrite.
What a wonderful country we have. The best known socialist in the country happens to be a millionaire with 3 houses. What I miss here?
Well, you'll miss that I work in Washington, House 1.
That's the first problem.
Live in Burlington, House 2.
That's good.
And like thousands of other Vermonters, I do have a summer camp. Forgive me for that. Where is your home? Which tax haven do you have your home?
New York City, thank you very much, and I pay all my taxes.
Aside from that one attack at Bernie Sanders did not get attacked much here during this debate, and I think that might be a mistake for the candidates that are on stage because he is a front runner, and it's becoming like he's the far and away front runner. So I don't understand why you wouldn't attack him. I know that Bloomberg, easy target. He's right there. You want to get him out the way. He has money. He's a billionaire. It's easy to look good by attacking Bloomberg as Pocahontas did, but let's keep your eyes on the prize. Bernie Sanders is still the front runner. He should have been hit a little bit more. I think the moderators hit Bernie more than anybody else did. I think his health came up. I'm not really sure who asked the question. Was it the moderator? Was it a person that was on stage, a Democratic hopeful? I don't know. But he's 78 years old and had a heart attack. I think the American people should know about his medical records. I think that was brought up during the debate by a moderator, and it was a good question. That didn't really get pounced on too much, and I think that it should have been. You had a lot of very old people on stage. What was the average age on stage? It'll probably be lower because of Edge being up there. He was like 38 or something. So it could be low because of that. But Warren is 70. Bloomberg 78. Sanders is 78. Biden is 77. And Klobuchar is 60. So it's like, can we get some younger people on stage? You had Tulsi Gabbard, you had Andrew Yang, but these people weren't really involved in the mix. They don't have money. They're not in the establishment. They're not who the DNC wants, so they had no chance. And by the way, I saw one random guy out there in the pre-show with a Yang for Nevada sign that's like, sir, it's over. Let it go. These guys don't want an Andrew Yang. He dropped out. They're going to probably pick Bernie or some other random person. And speaking about who they are going to pick, and I say they literally, you understand why in the moment, the question was asked to all candidates on stage, if the leading candidate does not get the required number of delegates, should that person still become the nominee? Everyone said no, aside from Bernie Sanders. Of course, he would say no because he's a front runner and he realizes that he may not get the required number of delegates. And to explain this briefly, you have to reach a threshold number of delegates if you are to become the automatic nominee. If you don't receive those amount of delegates, it doesn't matter if you are the majority as far as votes, then it goes to a contested convention, brokered convention, or whatever it is, which is a whole different ball of wax. And it can be an extended process to figure out who the nominee is going to be. Towards the end, there was a little bit of a protest towards Joe Biden. And I think from what I've been able to read that it was because of Obama's deportation, record-setting deportation. That was kind of funny. It was random. Everybody's giving a little closing statement. All of a sudden you hear like a little bit of screeching in the background, like, ree, ree. I didn't know what was going on. So I did a little bit of research and I found out, okay, they're just protesting because of the Obama deportation. Hilarious how a guy like Joe will get on stage and talk about how, quote unquote, racist Donald Trump's wall is and how racist the so-called cages are, when under the Obama administration, there was certain pieces of wall erected and the cages, quote unquote, that Trump is using were built. So it's funny, basically do as I say, not as I do. Just like when Bernie got called out over having the 3 houses. I can do that. I can have 3 houses. I can have a summer home or whatever. I can have my own private jet. I can fly first class, but you can't do that because you got to contribute to reduction in carbon emission. And speaking about climate change, that was brought up as well. I don't remember much from that particular exchange. They're saying the same old thing. We got to reduce emissions, that, and the third. same old basic stuff. Like the theme for the debate as I close is millionaires are okay if I'm a millionaire, but billionaires are bad if you're a billionaire. That's pretty much what that was. It's really weird. I don't think anybody really has a chance of being able to succeed at all, obviously, over Trump. If you ask me who won the debate, aside from Trump, who's obviously going to be the winner all the time, when you see these Democrats go further and further apart, because that's the main thing. The Democrats are not on one common accord. You have Bernie and Pocahontas pulling the party in one direction, and then you have your Klobuchar and Buttigieg pulling it in a different direction. When it comes time to get a nominee, who's going to be the person, I have no idea. The fracture that's caused makes it easier for Trump to go in there and win. Now, I'm reading stuff about 1984, Walter Mondale. That was the last time when there was no clear front runner and it had to go to a contested convention. And we saw what happened with that. Landslide. I think Walter Mondale won one state, but Reagan won every other state. It was a demolition. I think the same thing could happen here, especially if you get a socialist candidate like Bernie Sanders to become the front runner and then the nominee. It'd be just a landslide victory and it'd be pretty embarrassing. So although the party is very divided on the left, I'd say that Elizabeth Warren won this debate. Will it be enough to overcome Bernie's lead? I don't think so. It'll give her a slight boost, but it was not going to be enough for the caucus coming up in Nevada on Saturday, or for South Carolina coming up next Saturday, or for Super Tuesday for that matter. So what do you think? Who do you think won the actual debate? Aside from Trump, if you think Trump won, was it Warren? Was it Bloomberg? Was it Biden? Edge? Who do you think won the debate? And what do you think will be the result of the primaries? Who's going to come out on top? Will it be a contested convention? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.